Both you and I are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We had a Dallas County Commissioner's Court that has come out now and said it is a welcoming resolution to undocumented immigrants, aka illegal aliens. And the big part of this resolution was they said they don't want any, quote, non-essential communication between law enforcement and ICE officials. It's a sanctuary county now, apparently.
It's asinine. I spoke yesterday with the Dallas County Commissioner, and there was one lone voice in the wilderness on that whole council that actually voted against that measure. And everyone, what amazes me is that no one's actually taking into consideration what this does to all of the individuals who exist in Dallas County and what they're going to be putting up with in terms of if you have a number of individuals that are going to be requiring either its government assistance or its public education, et cetera. And in fact, one of the women who was testifying there who was speaking before the city council was saying that, well, you know, really what we're hearing is that one of the big draws is public education. So because in Mexico, you have individuals who would have to pay for education, and here they're able to enroll their children in public school. And, you know, obviously you get the free education there. I mean, free being the operative word. And I think the distinction is a lot of people try to conflate illegal immigration with legal immigration, which obviously everybody loves legal immigration. I don't know why anyone would conflate it, because I find it highly disrespectful to all of those who legally immigrated. In fact, legal immigrants, you think that we get aggravated about it, Grant, and I'm sure you know this, but legal immigrants, people who do everything, they sign all the paperwork, they wait in the line. They're the ones who are the angriest, and they should feel that way because it's disenfranchisement. But with this, there's a difference here. Legal immigration is something that you can track who's coming into the country and make sure that it's acclimating at a pace where not only the system can support it, but also everybody is integrating into whatever community that individuals are being welcomed into. And again, you're not overburdening the classroom by having too many kids in one particular grade, too many kids in the classroom, hospitals, etc. That's what urban planning, that's what basic planning, engineering, et cetera, all of that, that's what all of that encompasses. And so people are not really paying attention to that. And I know that some of them think that they're just doing something out of the goodness of their heart, but in reality, it actually ends up hurting more than it does help.
Yeah, it sure does. And when you talk about education, one of the biggest challenges, and I think the key to a good education is to have quality students in the class.
Exactly.
You could
and
actually
to have quality education. I mean, not to interrupt you, Grant, but one of the things that people don't realize is when they talk about that free education as some sort of beacon for people who are entering here illegally or getting sanctuary from these ridiculous law disregarding policies, is that you're not getting a quality education if you're dumping a ton of kids into one classroom. If you're having 30 a ratio of 30 to 1 in terms of teachers to students, how are you getting a quality education with a class size that big?
And so, Dana, consider this, it goes beyond that. So many of the students now don't speak English. So the teachers in the classroom have to focus on trying to get the kids who don't speak English to learn. So it is a huge draw. Now, the other interesting thing in this so-called resolution from Dallas County, and the reason we talk about it, because this really has national implications, because there are cities and counties across America that are doing this. They talked about the great benefit of illegals, that 34% of them were employed as they applauded this. And I'm thinking, who are the employers? Why aren't we going after the employers to take the draw away, the incentive away for people to come here illegally?
And that's a really good point, Grant, because we can talk about the wall 6 ways to Sunday, but the bottom line is that it's going to be an initial force multiplier, granted, but if you don't back that up with things in the interior, it's not going to mean anything. It really won't in the long run. I mean, you have to go after these businesses who are acting as a beacon and bringing on people who have entered illegally, because that penalizes those who enter legally, and it penalizes people who were born in the United States as well. And so that's just one of many steps that need to be taken to make sure that those penalties, it doesn't just stop at the border. It doesn't just stop at the wall, that you make sure that you have that backup in the interior too.
So speaking of penalties, the Texas State Senate just passed their version of a bill, still has to go to the House, that would create all kinds of penalties. You could pull funding to these cities and counties in Texas if they are sanctuary policies. They also said that you could put some of these officials in jail if they push sanctuary policies. I talked to Governor Greg Abbott about this very prospect yesterday. He said the hammer would fall on Dallas County and that it could be a possibility that they could go after any official that pushes these policies that doesn't allow law enforcement to talk to ICE.
I hope they do, because that's not what these elected officials have been entrusted with the consent of the governed to do. And I want to, as a reminder to all of those individuals, they didn't get just, they didn't just get some, get out of jail free card, pass go, collect your $200, Monopoly game, kind of do whatever the hell you want to. The only reason they are in that position is because people voted them in and are entrusting them. Again, it goes back to the consent of the governed. Now, if you are not abiding by the governed, then what are you doing in that position? This isn't about your ideology. This isn't a place to enact your agenda. This is for you to represent the people that you swore to serve and protect. And by disallowing law enforcement to speak with ICE, not only is it violating an executive order coming down from the White House, but it's also violating an order from the governor of the great state of Texas. So either you're in this position to serve the public good, or you can just get on out and you can go be an advocate for causes by those who commit crimes by entering illegally.
Yep. And sadly, though, we have some liberals in Dallas that keep electing these people back into office. We're probably going to get much of the same until that changes. Hey,